Hey there, everybody.
Good evening.
Welcome to the May 15th, 2012 Fellowship of the Geeks Live broadcast. He's Les Webster. I'm Thomas Chick, and joining us via the miracle of Skype is Mike Marlowe.
Hey, gang.
Evening, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
What's up?
What's going on, man? Okay. For tonight's topic, we kind of wanted to talk a little bit about what makes you pick up a book to read, like a comic to read. Is it the company? Is it the character? Or is it the creator? And of course, what I mean by is a writer or artist. You know, what makes you pick those up? Is there something specific, one in particular, or is it a combination? So, who would like to go first?
I think Thomas should go first.
Why should I go first?
Because you're always making us go first. It's your turn.
Really? I make y'all go first? Okay. I don't necessarily pick up a book because it's done by a particular publisher. I've said this several times before. You know, growing up, I read DC Marvel. I wasn't one over the other. I just, when I went into the bookstore or I went into a 7-Eleven or some other convenience store or something, saw a book, I picked it up. I bought it. I wasn't really hung up on one over another. And here we are years later. The publisher, and I'm sorry for the people who might hurt feelings, but publisher doesn't mean that much to me. I mean, now characters and creators, yeah, I mean they'll play a factor. I look at a book and I see it's someone's writing it, Ed B. Baker, Robert Kirkman, something like that. Yeah, I'll at least take a look at that kind of stuff. Or if it's a certain character I like, yeah, I might look at it, see if it's something interesting I might want to pick up. But of course, the top priority, and I know it's going to be in your guys' cases as well, is the story. I don't care who puts it out, who writes it, who's in the book. If the story is horrible, I won't buy more of it. I may bought that book, but I won't buy any more. I mean, I just did that recently with a certain event that just started up last week. I got two issues into it, and I said, okay, that's enough. I'm not interested in the story. And I quit.
You weren't willing to keep buying hype?
At least I gave him a chance. I did.
That's more than I did.
No,
yeah.
Well, but then again, that's not a company you usually buy anyway, so.
No.
Next.
Head up, Mike.
Mike, you're freshly back into the comic book world. What are your thoughts?
I am freshly back into the comic book world, and with me, I mean, I've got that English degree, so obviously for me, story is very important. Mm-hmm. So obviously publishers aren't, and honestly, I'm finding so much more interesting stuff. I was thinking about this earlier, and I'm wondering if I have dropped out of comics so often because I've gotten so bored at times with the big two and how they're constantly rehashing all of their stuff. And oh boy, if any of the big two people are listening, sorry, but it's just I'm with the big two. I feel the same way as I do about television. I don't watch TV because I've gotten so tired of the formulaic process that they follow. In their defense, it's really hard to be original when you have to crank out 22 episodes over the course of a 6-month span. It's hard to do things original, and it's also hard to keep people's attention sometimes. But for some of us, it's just not interesting. So I'm finding a lot more interesting stuff to read with the small fries out there, the indies. And I mean, I don't have to worry about, I don't even have to look at, I mean, most of the time I don't know who the writers are on the indie stuff, so, you know, they're not well known yet, but they're writing really good stuff. So, and obviously you have the same deal with characters. There are some recurring characters. Dynamite's been jumping a whole bunch of new old characters into their mix right now, and that I've been finding really interesting. But being a literature guy, for me, it's all about the story. If you don't have a story, I mean, I even put, generally speaking, the art is even pretty secondary for me. Not always, but some of the art's really good, and sometimes it complements a story really well, or a storytelling style, which, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I won't buy a book just because a certain artist or a certain art is great. I mean, if it's great, then yeah, it's great. But I mean, yeah, story is always important. I mean, that is always the number one factor. I mean, nowadays, with the internet and all that, you can find the art online, and there you go. But story is always.
I have to agree. Of those three, the publisher is third. It doesn't matter to me if it's the big two or the big three or the big four, whatever you want to look at.
I think we're up to 5 at this point.
I wouldn't doubt that, yeah. Because unlike Mike, unlike you, Thomas, it's the story that makes the difference. Tell me a good story, you've got me hooked. Art, to me, is secondary for the most part. Now, there are some creators I will follow, as you well know. So,
Really?
Yeah.
Like who, lad?
Please, tell me more.
Tell me more.
No, if there are certain creators involved, then yeah, I'll pick up those issues. The one was, Avengers 1959 recently, the miniseries.
Yeah.
And I picked those up because of the writer and artist of that. But for the most part, no, I won't scrounge around just for particular people, because if you try to collect, then it gets real mystifying as to how you're going to acquire everything that this person has done or will be doing.
Yeah. That's bad enough, but if you're a particular fan of a character, then stop.
Oh yeah. If you're a fan of Wolverine, you better be ready to open up your pocketbooks.
Just buy them all.
Yeah.
Just buy them all.
Same way with Deadpool. Now, would you like to be able to take a previews, Mike, and order one of everything in there?
Yeah, that would be great.
That would be a challenge. Try to read all that in 1 month.
But I haven't hit the lottery yet, so that ain't gonna happen this month.
You and me both.
What, you didn't buy it over there at Fort Worth? That wasn't you?
Nope, that wasn't me.
Oh, darn it.
Because we would have been your best buddies.
Well, I'll just have to settle for whatever the heck you guys are.
Acquaintances?
It's just some guys I do a webcast with.
No, but yeah, I think it's a good topic because people had blindly followed so many different ways or so many different things. And it irritates me that somebody will say, well, that series, we'll say Batman and Robin, or I'm sorry, Superman and Batman. I know a person that will not read that because of the art. And I tell them, well, read it. I mean, that's the whole point, is read it. And the art is there to translate some things, to give you a little motion to the story. But no, they refuse to because they don't like the artwork. They don't like Tim Sale, for one.
Well, the thing of that particular series is the creative team changed every story arc.
Yes.
So, yeah, if you don't want to buy that one because you don't like Tim Sale's art, well, you know what? The next story arc could be Ethan Van Sciver doing the art.
Yes.
Or it could be Ed McGuinness. It could be someone else. You know.
The problem there, though, is if you skip a story arc because you don't like the artist, then you've really missed out.
You're only hurting yourself because, I mean, that could be an incredible story, but you're not going to pick it up because you don't like the art. Yeah, I'm not exactly a big Tim Sale fan, but the stuff that he and Jeff Loeb had done together, some good stuff.
Yeah.
So, you know, I've enjoyed it, but I mean, it's not like I go out of my way just to get even teeth done. Then conversely, I don't like a lot of stuff that Jeff Loeb has written without.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
Um,
then I guess we're in consensus. Outside of the story, we're believing that it's the characters that is what we follow most, versus creators or publishers.
Yeah. Well, and the reason why how I came up with this was reading some of the, and I really shouldn't be doing this, but reading a lot of the comments on blogs and that kind of stuff, especially with things that have been going on, and I don't mean to keep going on the big two, but they're the ones that are the most highly profiled, and they're the ones that are causing the most anguish in reading. Between what has happened with DC, the New 52, and then Marvel doing events after events after events after events after events, you know, rinse, recycle, and repeat, that kind of thing. People have kind of gotten upset with those two publishers, and of course we've been here going, oh guys, there's a whole other world out there of books that are good.
Yeah.
Go check them out. But it just, you know, it seems. But I see the fighting going on. You know, this company sucks. That company sucks. That kind of stuff. And I'm just like.
But there's so many more companies out there to try.
I know, but it just it seems like the focus is always on those big two.
Well, I mean, those big two are what, 70% of the market share?
That's true.
I mean, that's where a lot of the money goes. That's where a lot of the readers' money goes. The readers don't always think about that.
No.
You have a choice, people.
Yeah.
You get to pick where your money goes.
Don't go blindly and just buy a certain company's work. And like I said, like we've talked about before, so many people do. There was a reason why they called people Marvel zombies back in the 80s and 90s.
Well, even before that.
Yeah.
The 60s, really, is when it came up with.
Yeah, late 60s.
And I was trying to think about that. There's really not a nickname for like a DC fan or an Image fan or Boom, but Boom's relatively young as a
or Dark Horse
or Dark Horse or Dynamite, or don't need to be naming all the other great companies out there, but I don't want to make them feel left out too. But yeah, it's
no, that's true.
We like to be all inclusive.
That's true.
No segregation here.
Equal opportunity geek boys.
There you go. Now, we all pick now. Mike has already mentioned that he's relatively new back into this. But is there a specific creator you would go out after?
Y todo eso.
Así es como yo no trae música conmigo.
Ahora con el verbo HTC.
At this point, I'm going to say no. I'm still early enough back in it that the only names I recognize are the ones who are doing something else outside of comics, so the people who are doing movies or TV or something.
Right.
So, I'm not limiting myself at this point.
How about ones that? Do you remember any creators back when you were in it before? Is there any one of those that you like their particular work and decide that maybe you want to do a follow-up, see what he or she's doing now, or you don't even remember?
From the 90s, I would be afraid to even mention any names. It would scare me. I'd probably get myself in trouble. And honestly, I don't really remember that many.
Well, that's what I was kind of thinking about. Not that I'm trying to pick on you, but just...
No, it's fine.
Yes. Outside of Howard Chaykin.
Was there any creator that...
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you hear that this person's name is attached to this project, you're...
I'm first in line?
Yeah, I'm there. And everybody, please excuse me. I've been all of a sudden having problems with saying that.
There's some of those from the past that I would.
Sorry.
But no one right now that just, except maybe Bendis. You might follow him.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
well,
but it's got to be a character I like too, because I know Bendis is writing a lot of stuff right now. But it's not stuff like me. Yeah, and that's fine. And I wish him well, and I wish everybody well reading it. But I am not going to go out of my way just because he's writing it right now. It's got to be a character I like too.
Well, I know, for example, that you're reading the comic.
Yes.
Which is written by Ed Brubaker.
Ed Brubaker, yes.
He's also writing Winter Soldier, which I know you don't know.
No.
So
but I am reading with the criminal.
Which is, so is it a case of you're just trying so in that case you're just not interested in the character? I mean, it could be a great story, but you're just not interested in the character.
Yeah. Yeah, just not.
You're just a Bucky
Buck up, little fella. No, it's just not. I didn't like Bucky really when Kirby was doing it.
You didn't like Bucky when he was Bucky?
No, I wasn't wild about Bucky. But I understood at the
Bucky's
time.
wild about you, though.
Saw that one coming from a mile away.
Well,
and it's a long drive.
You saw it, but he didn't.
It's going, and shortstop has it.
I'm afraid this one doesn't have the distance.
No.
I'm sorry. I had to go there. Okay, I mean, that's fair.
So, yeah, I mean, but I'm reading Fakal because of the story.
Right.
And Brubaker is a very good writer, and I understand that. But that's not the main reason I buy the book. So.
Okay. You say Bendis is the one you'll follow, but who's one? Is there any that you go, I'll think about this, or at least I'll pick it up and look at it and see if it might be something I'm interested in? But the writer's name or the artist's name pops out at you first? I mean, I'm not saying that you automatically buy it, but you'll at least look at it and consider.
Right now?
Yeah, right now.
Right now, Neil Adams. Neil Adams' work has always amazed me. I love it. George Perez is pretty close to it.
Mm-hmm.
And the definition they give to the characters is what I really like. So those are two that if I find out that they're going to be doing something, I may look into it.
Okay. Now those are artists who have written. Do you particularly care about their writing, or is it so much more their art?
I enjoyed Adams' work with his continuity line.
Okay.
He had some good stories there. And, of course, Perez with his run on Titans. Plus his...
Yeah, but he was with Wolfman on Titans. He wasn't necessarily...
But now
he wasn't credited as a writer.
No, but now he's doing Titans. What's one that he's writing for DC?
He's not writing for anyone now.
Oh.
He's gone back to... He's alternating with McGuire on World's Finest,
Okay.
doing the art. He was writing and doing some artwork for Superman for the first few issues, but he's not writing anymore.
And then I just looked up something that made me remember that Greg Rucka is a writer that I will probably follow most of everything he does because of his work with Whiteout.
Well, Rucka and Brubaker did Gotham Central,
yeah,
which was a great book.
Yes. Michael Lark.
Mike, that's probably something I need to let you borrow. I've got some of the trades. Gotham Central basically focuses on the police. If you've watched Batman the Animated Series, you had Harry Bullock. Harvey Bullock and Renee Montoya. But it was also the rest of the police force, and it was a great series because it was not really handled as a superhero. Although some of the villains would show up time to time, it was basically it was a police drama.
Yeah. With
some super villain elements too.
Right.
It was such a good read.
And rather than dump Batman and or Robin in there constantly, or Nightwing.
Yeah. It was them that had to deal with it.
It was the police department.
Yeah.
It kind of shows the police department kind of doing their best when Batman's not directly involved, sort of thing.
Correct.
Pretty much.
Cool.
Well, it basically shows that they were confident. It just there was times where they were doing it. Not kind of like the old Adam West. Someone breaks out, so let's immediately call Batman. Let's not try to take care of it ourselves.
Yeah, get under the bat phone, sitting up a tree, and going to call Batman.
That's right. And then you think Batman would have charged for the mileage and stuff. That 14 miles kind of adds up after a while. Getting up a tree again? Okay, this is double this time.
I'm going to send Robin this time. He's got a scooter.
There you go. Or Batgirl. She's closer.
Yeah. She's a few blocks away.
She's a few blocks away, and she's got a cycle, so it would be easier.
She can walk over and extend the cat out of the tree.
There you go.
That'd be great. Yeah, let's see Batgirl walk up with a taser and show a kitten. That'd be awesome. They'll stop freaking calling them for kittens up trees. That's for sure.
Yeah. For me, Brubaker, although there's some of Brubaker stuff I will definitely read. Gail Simone, another good one. I like some of Bendis' stuff. Trying to think of some of the others that Kirkman. I mean, I'm not really into Walking Dead, but I've read some of the Invincible stuff, which is good. And of course, he's been the Thief of Thieves, which is good.
Yeah.
Well, or at least him and Nick Spencer's doing it. Spencer's another good writer. There's so many good writers out there that I don't really know by name yet, but there's some good ones out there that are starting to establish them. I'd never really heard of someone like Robert Landridge until Snark came out.
Mm-hmm.
And I've tried to read Snark, and I'm like, okay, this is going over my head because I've never read Alice in Wonderland. Is it Alice in Wonderland? Okay. But he did a great job on top.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden he bailed on DC.
Well, in Marvel, but he didn't really do it for DC. In Marvel, they weren't really using him. So, hey, he's already got a name.
Right, he's doing okay.
At a certain level, so he can do whatever he wants.
Snark is a fun read. Yeah, and it does help a little bit to know who these characters are, but it's not mandatory.
No, it's not mandatory, but I mean, I was kind of confused when I first started reading it.
Yeah.
Have you read it, Mike?
Yeah, a little bit.
I figured you might like it.
Yeah, there was some fun stuff there.
Who else? Or
Well, I mean, go ahead.
All right.
Go ahead.
I have a question. If there's not a writer or artist involved in your decision, what makes you guys decide to pick up something new?
You want to talk to that first?
I would say the character itself, because I'm really hyped about both the Shadow and the Spider. I've read several of the novels with Holmes, and I'm really impressed with them. So I want to see what they can do in the comics themselves. Shadow was really interesting, and they are taking the more the 80s approach of DC when it revamped the character.
Okay.
And dropped a lot of the mysticism stuff that they had going. When First Wave came out from DC, when they had also the Doc Savage title, that was fun to me because they tried to keep it in the past. It wasn't brought up to date and made you think that everything was happening in the 90s and 2000s.
And I really hope, and I know you and I have talked about this, I think I've talked to Mike about it too, now that DC no longer has Doc Savage and the Adventure and that kind of stuff, that maybe Dynamite would pick up those licenses and create a world that like DC was trying to do, the culture universe to have all of them together. I know Moonstone has the Phantom, and I think Mandrake is a public domain character. So maybe they can still use Mandrake and that kind of stuff, and just basically do a noir universe. And of course, they can create their own characters too.
And the problem with that is that the new Shadow is set in the late 30s, and the new Spider appears to be set modern day.
Oh, I'm sorry, I hadn't looked at that one. So.
I haven't read Spider yet.
Huh. I'm not keen on that.
So I don't know. I think it might prove interesting, but I don't know if you're going to have the crossover potential because you're talking about a 70-year time difference.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just not going to go around saying this is another transition. But same character names.
Yeah, and in fact, they brought several of the other characters in as well in very similar roles, but not exactly the same.
Well, sorry for that idea.
Well, see, DC, I'm sorry, Marvel also did that with their character Dominic Fortune. Dominic Fortune was somebody that Howard Chaykin had created for Marvel. It was a kind of spin-off of Scorpion. And Fortune was an adventurer and took on
Y todo eso.
Así es como yo notaba en música conmigo.
Ahora con...
from the 30s. But now they've brought it forward, and it's somebody carrying the name that has nothing to do with the original character. It's also moved up in modern times, and he is not an adventurer, he's a private detective. And that, I wasn't keen on that. I'm still not really wild about it, but they didn't ask me.
Those fools.
They just wasted their time.
Totally.
I was going to say something, but I can't remember that.
So,
It's been a long couple of days. I'm sorry, so I apologize for that, guys. I really do. Going back to your question, word of mouth. If I hear something about this being good, or if I read something online, a little blurb about a book, you know, what the synopsis is, I might pick it up and see if it might be something that might be interesting to pick up.
okay. How about you, Mike?
Well, at this point, I am in the delightful position, and so is Thomas, really, of we get sent this list of comics every week to look at and potentially write reviews for. So, I mean, honestly, I can't possibly read everything that we get sent. But it's fun to occasionally open one up and thinking, you know, I've seen this on the list for like 3 months now. Maybe I'll take a look at it just for jollies.
Yeah.
So I'm actually seeing a lot more stuff than I ever did before.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Yeah, I mean, that has been one of the big benefits of doing this, is it has expanded my world of the I mean, I was never one of those that was always big for writers. It was always new. I always picked up stuff as a major, that kind of thing. But this is opening me up to other companies, and there's some that are, well, no rating. But doesn't mean that their books ain't being not good. I mean, I was just telling you guys before starting up the webcast, I picked up, contacted the company, and they're about to publish their first book, and I've already got the PDF, and I've already read it, and I'm like, this is great. I love it. So I'll have a review for it here next week or something. But it's nobody knows. I know, obviously it's a new publisher, so nobody really knows the publisher. But I wouldn't have had this opportunity if I hadn't done this. So I'm definitely, this is great. I'm enjoying this.
Yeah, and it's also cool that it gives us a chance to kind of publicize these little known guys who wouldn't get any pub at all otherwise.
Yeah, not that we're trying to pat ourselves on the back too much. But
No. It's a delightfully mutually beneficial setup, and
definitely.
I think it's really cool. And there's lots of I don't know how many people like us that are out there doing this, but it rocks, you know.
Well, we've had some great feedback from people saying that they appreciate what we're doing, both from the readers' side and honestly from the publisher's side. So we're making a little bit of a difference. So that's nice. Yeah.
Yes.
And we do appreciate it. We always appreciate any kind of input we get.
Absolutely.
Negative or positive. Either way.
Yes, as a reviewer, please feel free to tell me if you think I'm a jerk, but please make sure you tell me why.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Yeah. This such and such sucks, then it doesn't really work.
Yeah, it's not helpful. That's not constructive. I mean, if I'm doing something you think is wrong, tell me what it is, tell me why, and I can look at it and say, okay, hey, maybe I am being a jerk.
Well, I think I've already told you this before, Mike, but I have received a comment from a publisher of one of the companies that we have reviewed a couple of their books, and he thanked us and said that he liked what we're doing because we are fair and that we're honest. And that's what we're trying to do. Our whole approach, or at least my approach, I don't want to speak for Mike, so Mike, you're good in your 2 cents, but the way I approach the reviews is, I just read this. This is what I like about it. This is the story. You might be interested. That's my whole approach. I'm treating it like a film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that makes a difference.
You know, I don't try to be a literary critic because I never will be one. Because I ain't that smart. But then again, there are some that call themselves literary critics who are not as smart either. So.
I may step on toes here, but a large percentage of literary critics are failed writers. I mean, they're people who who either can't or haven't managed to break into whatever it is they're writing criticisms of. And I mean, you know, that's fine. It's okay. But yeah, that's not really where we're coming from. I mean, we're trying to get people interested in this stuff and trying to show people what's cool about these books.
Mm-hmm.
That's our job. That's how I see it, anyway.
Yeah. And like we've already said several times tonight, to just open up the world and say that there's more than just, 5 or 6 publishers out there. There's a lot more out there.
Right.
And what did you just do?
Well, that scared me too.
What exactly did you type into Google last? Jeez.
We won't discuss that part.
He typed in Mayan 666. No, just kidding.
That's 2 strikes.
Nope.
What happens with the 3rd strike? To the moon, Alice.
I was about to say that, so I'll be there where Alice is. Huh?
That's right.
Anybody? I don't have the chat room up. Is anybody yet asking anything?
Haven't seen anything yet.
Anybody have any questions out there in the chat room?
Or Twitterland.
Yeah. I've not seen anything here in Twitterland. And of course, Les is checking up on the Rangers. And after that face he made, I don't think I want to know.
Nope, it's not good.
No, I'm not seeing any questions here.
So I'm saying no.
Okay. You want to take a couple of minutes to talk about this weekend?
Yes, please.
Okay. This weekend, for those who are in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, is Dallas Comic-Con. It's just only Saturday and Sunday this time. We have to make sure we Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Ooh.
Hey. A lot of good guests are going to be there. I just found this out last day or so that apparently this is Neil Adams' first appearance in Dallas.
In Dallas, yes.
He was never here during the Fantasy Fair days?
Nope.
Wow. So this is a coup.
Yes, it is.
That's amazing. We've already talked about Neil Adams before. George Perez, I think he's still scheduled to be here.
Yes.
Stan Lee, who was going to be here Saturday and Sunday, but he's not going to be able to make it Sunday. But he's coming in Friday for a few hours. And if you go to www.sci-fiexpo.com, you can check out the arrangements they have for Friday with him.
Arthur Sweetum.
Yeah. Jimmy Palmiotti.
Brian Stelfreeze.
Brian Stelfreeze. I think Norm Brayfogle still scheduled to be here.
Greg Horn. I mean, there is a slew.
And that's just on the comic side. On the entertainment side, you've got Adam West and Burt Ward. Patrick Stewart is only going to be here Saturday. John Delancey. Summer Glau was just added either late last night or today. I think it was today. James Marsters. So very nice, very impressive list of guests.
Yes, still a lot of Batman heavy characters. Like you said, West and Ward.
Kevin Conroy.
And Kevin Conroy is going to be there. Then, of course, from Smallville is Linda Vandervoort.
Yeah.
Who played Kara. So, yeah, it's going to be a busy weekend.
Especially Saturday.
Yes.
Because Sir Patrick's only there Saturday. But Sunday won't be a slouch either.
No. Not by a long shot.
At least I don't think so. I don't think it will be. It normally is, but I don't think there's going to be that much of a drop off this Sunday. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. Anyone in particular you're interested in seeing and you're trying to talk to? Les?
Adams, Stelfreeze, Vandervoort, Marsters. Yeah. Those are probably my top two comic and then media guests.
I would love to go talk to Norm Brayfogle and George Perez. I think Perez would probably be near impossible. I think he's going to have a line out the door and down the street and down the highway to see him.
Longer than Stan's line?
No, it won't be longer than Stan's.
Maybe, because Stan was here last year. I can't remember the last time George has been up there.
I was thinking George was in Arlington. Yeah, he was in Arlington because I got Absolute Crisis signed by.
We're still talking about 3 or 4 years.
Oh, more than that, yeah.
Well, I mean, at least that one.
Minimum, right.
But Stan Lee was here last year.
Right.
Granted, Stan Lee, the fact that George doesn't get that office
No.
Mike, you're interested in trying to see and maybe talk to?
I am going to be an equal opportunity schmoozer. I will talk to anybody who will talk to me.
There you go.
Well, don't come find us then, okay?
No!
Strike one.
Just a bit outside. No, he knows better than that.
So, if y'all are going, and y'all see us, by all means come up. Say hi.
Please don't hurt us.
Yeah, that too. Come up and say hi. Let us know what you think about the show or the website, or if anything you want to ask us or talk to us about. Feel free.
Yes.
We always want input, and we always look forward, whether it's negative or positive, especially if it's negative. We would like to know what we're doing, if there's anything we're doing wrong, or something you want to add, or
It's how we improve.
Yeah, we want to improve, but we want to know, we want to know what we're doing right, but we also want to know what we're doing wrong, or why you think this is wrong, that kind of thing. Because you never know, you might find out why we're doing things the way we're doing it, and change your mind. It's possible.
Yeah.
Or you might change our minds.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the main thing.
That's the main thing. Because we're striving to be better. That we've only been doing this for the shows. Granted, this is our second show back, but we've been doing it for almost 2 years. The website's only been up for a year, and we've only really been doing news content for about 6 or 7 months, and of course reviews. Seriously doing reviews only for 5 months. So we're still relatively new at this.
We want to know.
So we want to know. We want some kind of input of what's going on.
As far as news goes, it just looks like Avengers is the new version of Titanic, where everybody is so giddy about going to
Y todo
see
eso.
it.
Así es como yo no trae música conmigo.
It's almost absurd. It's grossed $2 billion.
$1 bill.
$1 billion?
$1 bill so far.
Worldwide.
Worldwide, yes. And I know,
But that's
we
good.
know of some, all three of us know of somebody that has now been to that thing 8 times.
I still haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it.
I want to. I just haven't made it up. Maybe Thursday.
8 times. And this person wonders why I haven't gone to see it.
Because that person keeps filling up the seats.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Sheesh.
Maybe you don't
Can't buy tickets.
Maybe you don't want to see the person in the theater. They keep going that often.
Yeah.
Depends on what he's dressed up as, I mean, it could be fun.
Well, could be something possible. Who knows?
That's true.
But they are already advertising Amazing Spider-Man. I've seen advertisements on television.
It's only a couple of months away, man.
Yeah, but it started the weekend of Avengers release.
Well, there was a trailer for that. There was also a trailer for that.
Yes, no, I know that, but I'm saying that on television, they've already begun their push.
That's the Marvel way, buddy. That's the Marvel way.
Yeah.
By the time the movie comes out, you're going to see it quickly.
I think you're right. Yeah.
That might not be a good idea with Spider-Man.
Well, I'm not going to pat myself on the back, but I'll admit that I probably did go out on a dangerous limb. We talked about the movie 2 weeks ago. I said that Avengers would be the big movie for itself.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
And I figured Dark Knight would be the second, but I had no idea what to do with this. But as you pointed out, some of those grosses are coming from 3D,
Right.
which Dark Knight Rises will not be 3D, so there's no way you can capture
That's right. And Dark Knight, some reviewers have already said will be Oscar worthy. So that, to me, says a lot.
Well, you never know. I mean, it may, since it's going to be the last Nolan film that maybe might get it on. Kind of like what happened with Return of the King.
Yeah.
Because Jackson basically got awarded for all three films with the Oscar.
Yes.
And who knows? I'm not going to say that he'll get nominated good for that film. But if it's Oscar nominated, I think it's Oscar too.
Yeah.
I can see a possibility. How big of a possibility? I'm not going to put any numbers on because I haven't. We won't know. I'm not going to look for December, January. What's known?
Yeah.
That's an awful long time for what we need to be getting good.
Yeah. But even in January, they were starting to talk about somebody that was worthy of an Oscar, and sad thing is, by the time November or December went around, you're not going to remember those people and or movies.
Right, it's a hype thing. That's all it is.
Yeah. Well, the hype machine is in full force for Amazing Spider-Man.
And you know what? I just don't think it's going to be. I think it'll be good, but I don't think it's going to be a great movie. I could be totally off. But from what I've seen of it, I'm not really that comfortable.
Well, what I've seen of it, of that television preview, correct me if I'm wrong, but the lizard looks more the size of Killer Croc than the character of the lizard in the comic books.
Well, they're taking artistic license.
Big artistic license.
Well, that's just like in the first film, the Goblin was armored.
Yeah.
He wasn't really wearing a costume and a mask. It was all armored.
Yes. But who wants to just see a costume? They're going to want to see some protective gear on this guy. Otherwise, he's
but he's flying on his glider. So he's got invasion on his side.
And the bombs.
Yeah, there's still a function there of suspension of disbelief, though. I mean, if nothing else, the Batman stuff kind of set the standard there. I mean, nowadays you expect your somewhat mundane superhero types to be wearing body armor because people would have guns.
Yeah, that was set up in the Michael Keaton Batman movies too.
Right, and they've all done it since then.
Right. Some have had some unwanted additions, where others didn't, but okay.
Besides, it distinguishes them from Superman.
Yes.
Honestly, Superman doesn't need it, so he's still wearing, in Superman Returns, he's wearing the costume. Because he is armor.
And I had somebody tell me that the Superman costume was not good because it looked like he was wearing armor. And I said, that's the same pattern that Captain America had on his costume. So what's the difference?
He looked more muscular. That's what the difference is. Cap, that is.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that suits looked doughy or anything, but, I mean, Chris Evans buffed up pretty big.
Well, for a scene or two, I'll agree, yeah. Right now, he does not look buffed up.
Right now?
Right now.
But he doesn't look like Cap because he's got a beard and a mustache.
Yeah, but he's not broad across the shoulders and narrow at the hip. Everybody means you don't give no lip to Big John.
We've
Like Thor.
We've jumped off topic a little bit, that's fine, but I want to bring this up because
Please.
I had watched Captain America last night. It was on one of the channels. when I get a chance. But I had seen, like I said, last night, but it's been a couple of days since I had watched Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Okay.
Okay? I want to give kudos to Chris Evans. Because I was so used to seeing him as Johnny Storm being just the goofball and just the limelight and all that kind of stuff. He did a great job as Steve Rogers.
Okay.
You don't agree with me?
I didn't think, I'm sorry, but to me, Cap wasn't that strong a character in that movie. I was like most everybody else. I was more intrigued with the Red Skull and how that was carried.
Well, the villains are always more attractive than heroes.
Yes.
Well, and part of that is that you're in the process of building the Cap character, whereas the Red Skull doesn't change. He's static. So he's a quote-unquote badass from the beginning, whereas Rogers has to build up into Cap by the end, or by the denouement. And so you're really only seeing Cap, as we know and love him, for the last 10, 15 minutes of the flick.
Yes.
Storytelling trick.
Yes. That's true.
Movies that these movies tend to fall into. This is one of the reasons Green Lantern wasn't such a great flick, because you don't have Green Lantern until the end.
It's all built.
Right. You're building up this Hal Jordan character into Green Lantern, which I don't think they did all that well personally, but again, off topic.
No, you're right. I agree with you.
I think it's getting a little more exaggerated in some of these superhero movies, I think, and I don't necessarily like that.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, also, if I may, Battleship comes out this weekend. Everybody's excited. No, Battleship comes out this weekend, and Sci-Fi Channel is running a made-for-TV movie called American Warships. And it's the U.S. Navy fighting aliens.
They did it all the time.
So they're running both commercials on Sci-Fi Channel. And it's kind of funny because you're going, okay, which one am I watching now?
It's like when Thor came out, they were showing that Thor was God of Thunder.
God of Thunder, yeah.
So, I mean, they did stuff like that. I don't think they always do that.
Yeah.
You know, if there was a sequel to Twister, they would play Atomic Twister. Yeah.
I don't need an excuse to play Atomic Twister.
Well, no.
Speaking of which, that's another game that needs a movie to go with it. Twister.
Yeah, but people can start confusing with the Bill Paxton movie. Which, I'm sorry, I liked the movie. It was a fun movie.
But I think Mike's onto something. I think they should do Chernobyl Twister.
There you go.
I think that would just do wonders.
Or Atomic Connect 4. I still love the Photoshop poster for Hungry Hippos. It's the Battleship poster, except for the alien ship, you have a humongous hippo in there. It's great.
I like it.
God bless all graphic designers.
Throw in the amateurs.
Uh-huh.
In some cases, the amateurs are better than the pros.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, some of these movie posters that they come out with, the amateurs do a better job in most cases.
Yes, their spoofs are much funnier.
Well, I'm not even talking about spoofs. I'm just talking about stuff. just once they put together, some of them they put together.
Even when they do the real ones.
Are a lot better than some of the legitimate posts.
Whatever happened to that guy that did the little promo movies for what is Batman and Dead End?
Oh, yeah, I know who you're talking about. You're talking about the writer-director?
Yeah.
I have no idea what happened to him. I haven't seen anything from him in a while.
Maybe we'll spot something this weekend.
You know what he's talking about, right, Mike?
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure if you'd seen it or not.
Oh yeah, you showed me that years ago.
Oh, did I? Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I didn't watch it. I remember Clark Markram played Batman.
Yeah.
I remember that much. And he did a great job, and that's one where he was not wearing body armor.
Sandy Collara.
That's him. I knew I would remember once you said it.
Oh, that counts as remembering.
Oh, he's doing special effects. What is he doing as director?
Not much.
Not much.
Same thing with writer.
Yeah.
The same title.
It's just his stuff.
Yeah.
But
got Catskill Park coming up as a creature designer in 2013. So it's been a dozen years since he's done much of anything.
yeah, the last thing that he's credited for is special effects was 2000. Wow.
Weird.
Well, if he
Must have gotten a day job.
Probably.
Okay.
I hope the guy hits it, because Dead End was really well done, and
Well, the World's Finest was good too.
yeah, World's Finest was very good.
Alrighty then. I think that's pretty much it. Anything y'all want to say before we call it a show?
I'm pretty much good.
It's a show.
It's a show. We don't know if it's a good show, but it's a show.
Yeah.
Alrighty. With that being said, we appreciate everybody who's watched this either live or recorded. We are working on things to. You want to talk about, Mike, what you're trying to do?
Not yet, no.
Okay, okay. Alrighty. We won't talk about that then. Okay, so
we'll talk about it when it's actually working.
Okay. I'll just say that the fellowship is always evolving. We're always looking at trying to do different things and
to expand our horizons.
And so just stay tuned. And once we get some updates, we'll let you know what's going on. But once again, thank you for watching. Thank you for reading the website. We always want your input, good, bad, and indifferent. Any questions can be sent to us. Email at thefellowshipofgeeks.net.
¿Y todo eso?
Así es como yo trae música conmigo.
And we may get that resolved one of these days. So our next show will be in 2 weeks from tonight. I won't go over what we're going to be talking about, but it's going to be an interesting topic. So just leave it at those oddities. Please come back.
You'll have to come watch it now, won't you?
Yeah, it might be a little controversial, or it's going to be talking about a controversy. I don't know if we'll be controversial. We probably won't.
I doubt it. We're pretty boring.
Yeah, we're kind of boring. So with that, I want to wish you a good evening, a good couple of weeks, and we'll see you then.
Good night.
Good night.
Later, guys.